He was one of football's brightest stars, a man whose talent seemed almost supernatural, whose name echoed through stadiums across Europe. But behind the goals, the glory, and the cheers, Jimmy Greaves carried a pain that fame could never erase. This is the heartbreaking story of the man England loved, and how his life took a tragic turn when the spotlight faded in the golden era of English football. Jimmy Greaves was nothing short of a legend. To older fans, his name still brings a rush of nostalgia. The striker who could do what others only dreamed of, with a natural instinct for the game and a gift for scoring goals that seemed effortless. Greaves became one of the most prolific forwards the world had ever seen. He played for clubs like Chelsea, AC Milan, and Tottenham Hotspur, and his record to 357 goals in the English top flight remains unmatched to this day. But behind every goal, there was a story of struggle, one that would eventually define his life as much as his brilliance on the pitch. Jimmy Greaves was born in 1940 in East London, into a working-class family that knew the value of hard work and sacrifice. From an early age, it was clear he was special. By the time he was a teenager, his name was already known among scouts. He joined Chelsea at just 15, and at 17, he was scoring goals with a confidence beyond his years. The world seemed to open its arms to him. At 20, Greaves was already one of England's brightest stars. But with fame came pressure and a growing sense of isolation. The adoration of fans and the constant attention began to weigh on him. When he joined AC Milan in 1961, many believed he was destined to conquer Europe. Instead, he found himself lonely and disconnected in a foreign country, struggling to adapt to a new culture and language. Within months, he returned to England, a hero who already felt broken. It was at Tottenham Hotspur where Greaves reached his peak. His time there was nothing short of legendary, to FA Cup wins, a European Cup Winners' Cup, and hundreds of goals that seemed to come from another dimension. But off the pitch, his demons were growing. The pressures of fame, the expectations, and the relentless pace of professional football led him down a dark path toward alcoholism. By the time the 1970 World Cup came around, Greaves's life had already begun to unravel. Despite helping England qualify, he was left out of the squad for the final match, replaced by Geoff Hurst, who famously scored a hat-trick in the final. It was a decision that haunted Jimmy for the rest of his life. "I felt like my world had ended," he once said. "I'll never forget the pain of watching, knowing that should have been me." As the cheers faded, so did his career. He retired from professional football in the early 1970s, but his battle with alcohol deepened. He later admitted to drinking heavily every day, struggling to find purpose after football. "I lost myself completely," he said. "When the crowd stops cheering, you're left with silence, and that silence can destroy you." In the 1980s, Greaves fought back. With courage and honesty, he sought help and eventually achieved sobriety. He found a second life in television, co-hosting Saint and Greavesy, where his humor and charm made him a national treasure once again. But years of drinking had taken a toll on his body. In 2015, he suffered a severe stroke, leaving him partially paralyzed and unable to speak clearly. Fans rallied behind him, but the damage was irreversible. Jimmy Greaves passed away in September 2021. At the age of 81, the football world mourned deeply. Not just the player, but the man who had fought his demons and never stopped inspiring others. His legacy remains untouched, not only in records, but in hearts. Because Jimmy Greaves wasn't just a footballer. He was a reminder that even legends can break. That brilliance often hides deep pain. And that the real victory is not in the goals you score, but in finding the strength to stand back up when life knocks you down.